Oh, well. No, you want to start, but it happens. Yeah, Newcastle 5, Aston Villa 1. Villa yet again lose their opening game of the season. I believe it is officially their worst defeat suffered on the opening day of the season. And what is there to say about today that can be looked as a positive aspect of the game? Bugger all. If anything, Diaby, a real legitimate threat going forward, and you can see the quality there. Getting his goal today on his debut. There's something about him there. There's something, a bit of attention to go from there. For 90 minutes though, Jesus Christ, we just did not look up for it today at all, did we? Firstly, coming into the game, obviously the only starter being Moussa Diaby, no Pau Torres, no Yuri Tielemans, which was quite interesting to see. Especially in the case of Torres, we spent all this money and all this attention going after him. It would have been, for me, expected to see him start today, but that didn't come to happen. Obviously, I was coming into this game thinking we were going to lose. I know you want to go into it positive as much as you will, but it's just every time we go away to Goodison Park, every time we play Newcastle away, it's just never a good result. Remembering it last year, losing 1-0 to a free kick, I just didn't really feel confident today, and it's clearly reflected. And it's clearly reflected in the players as well, because they didn't even look up for it at all from minute one. It just didn't look like the ambition and desire to win the game today was there. Then scoring within the first 5 minutes from Sandro Tonali. Fair enough. I didn't think he had the best of games today, but he at least looked better and perhaps had a bit of a role with us in the pre-season friendly earlier on this month before the start of the season, getting a goal there. And then obviously kind of an instant response from Aston Villa to get the goal from Moussa Diaby, a nice bit of play from Douglas Luiz, a little chipped in header behind from Watkins, and a great half-volley finish from Moussa Diaby. And then he just completely seemed to go. Then obviously Newcastle go and get their second goal, and everything from there just crumbles. The Mings injury, incredibly disappointing as it was, but even then, would it have made a difference today? Probably not, considering everywhere defensively and all over midfield-wise, it just wasn't happening. But for me, that was probably the turning point of the game, the turning point for Villa, because from that point on, it just didn't seem like anybody wanted to do anything, anybody wanted to get stuck in. Everyone just seemed a bit shaken up by the incident, and ultimately, just a lack of real desire to do anything in the game. Going at half-time, trying to re-galvanise. We're bringing on Tielemans, which is a good option, but he's coming off for Bailey. When Boubacar Kamara, we'll talk about players in a minute, but Boubacar Kamara, for the whole 90 minutes, he should have been subbed off at half-time. Absolute joke from him today. He's playing so slow, playing as if we're winning 2-1. He just didn't look up for it at all. I don't understand how he's staying on the pitch. You want to bring on Tielemans, put a more attacking mindset into the team, someone that's going to create those front players like Watkins and Diaby, who had probably a strong first half in the sense of the chances they were creating and being given, and obviously not taking them, but, the ability that's there, have that link up there. But ultimately we didn't. We take him off, and then the game's just completely gone then. Obviously Isaac getting a brace, Wilson and Harvey Barnes coming on. You instantly know the writing's on the wall when them two are coming on. And what goes and happens? Complete calamity on the pitch. Wilson and Barnes score. They could have scored more, but they didn't, and ultimately it ends 5-1 there. And I'm fed up with it. I'm genuinely fed up with it. Obviously, it's the first game of the season. You don't want to go overboard, but this is the third year in a row now we're seeing the first game of the season in a crushing defeat. 3 seasons ago we're losing to Watford. Then we're losing to Bournemouth, and now we're losing to Newcastle. Now, I'm not saying that Newcastle should have been a winnable game. It should have been, considering what we've been able to achieve in pre-season, what we did do last season, and the fact that how far we've come as a team. 5-1 should not have happened today, simply put. It's not what was on the cards. And coming into this game with the mindset that 3 points were going to be achieved, that we're mighty, we've qualified for Conference League. No, there is Champions League Newcastle and Conference League Aston Villa, and ultimately that quality has been shown today, but it's also shown the advantage that Newcastle have at St James's Park. Sorry, St James's Park, and it's paid dividends today. Not a single player looked good. Every single player looked absolutely shocking to visually you have to watch 9 minutes on. I know it's probably not the way he wanted to come on with Pau Torres, but even he looked off the races at all. But that's what I say, you're getting brought in purely as a replacement because of what's happened to Mings. Would he have come on today? Probably not. Konza as well, he didn't look like he massively wanted to be there as well. And he reflected in his mistake. Matty Cash. Whoa. I beg for the love of God, Villa are to invest in a new right back this summer because there is just no competition for Matty Cash's position. And it kind of makes me feel like he's playing with no sense of worry because there is nobody else. Our replacement is Callum James or possibly Adrian Konza. But watching Konza today, seeing what Chambers is like, these are not solid players that are going to build depth within your team, and we need depth in competition in every position. Cash does not have that competition, and he looked absolutely shocking today. Getting outrun by players numerous times, just poor decision making, and just not really putting himself there. Defensively, he's just not there. Offside traps aren't working. Like 2 goals went to VAR on ultimately, they were onside. So it's not working there. Midfield just didn't seem to have an impact at all. McGinn couldn't really break through the likes of Dan Burn and ultimately through Newcastle's defence. Kamara, as I said, absolute shocker today. I don't know what the hell everybody was thinking keeping him on the pitch. Douglas Luiz had a bit of effort here and there, but ultimately he faded into the game. Bailey casually just losing the ball, not really making much of an impact at all. And like I said, Watkins being isolated up top and Diaby being ultimately the only thing to come out of this with at least some form of positivity. It is massively, massively embarrassing. I put a tweet out saying, these are the type of games, your first game of the season, you need to set that standard, and that's how you can follow on from the whole rest of the season. And today, if that's what potentially could follow on for the rest of the season, it is a damning sight to see, because this is not the same team that achieved some great results last year. Simply put, it is just a massively shame to watch today. Obviously, it is Everton at home next week. Again, you don't want to get carried away, but if we're not getting a win against Everton, considering right now we're bottom of the league, having conceded 4 goals, if we're not getting a result with Everton next week, it looks like, you can't really throw the alarm bells up, but it would be just a little bit like, what's maybe going on here? I'd like to see some more signings. I'd like to see some more depth in this team, because quite frankly, with the amount of injuries we've now got, plus the fact players just not being fit or just not really providing that right level of competition, we need to see something for Everton, and I'm hoping that, considering we've been successful the last few times, I'm hoping that result's going to be there. So yeah, ultimately, massively crushing to see on the first game of the season, but it is what it is. So Newcastle 5, Aston Villa 1. Tell us in the comments down below what you thought, but go on to Everton next. Up the Villa with my Villa. I'll see you next time, boys.